Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to look at a very nice card that we're going to have, which is going to give us a whole heap of healing. It's Hyper Potion. Now, as a man that plays the Pokemon video games and likes the Pokemon video games very much, it kind of makes me happy to see a Hyper Potion, because we haven't actually had Hyper Potion since Skyridge came out. And when we had it in Skyridge, it was a very, very different card. Back in Skyridge, you chose one of your Pokemon and discarded either one or two basic energy cards attached to that Pokemon. If you discarded one energy, you removed up to 3 damage counters. If you discarded 2 energy, you removed up to 5 damage counters. Yeah, that's asking a lot. That's a lot of energy to get rid of. Well, this new one is very much a spiritual successor, but it's a whole heap better. Kind of. What you do is you heal 120 damage from one of your Pokemon and discard 2 energy from that Pokemon. Although it is very important to note that if you are unable to discard the energy, you are unable to get the healing. You can't just get a Pokemon with no energy on and go, heal 120. Oh, would you believe it? There's no energy on there. I'd love to, but no. Not the way it works, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. Not the way it works. So that's a little bit of a pain, but there's not much we can do about it. And it's a weird situation, because on the one hand, it's great healing, and on the other hand, it's really bad because it gets rid of all your energy. Like, getting rid of 2 energy is no joke. Getting rid of 2 energy is basically undoing a welder. And we don't want to undo a welder. We like welder. Welder lets us attach 2 extra energy. So my point here is that if you want to use this, you've got to really want to use it. It's got to really, really be worth it. And frankly, I think this is a kind of card which is only ever going to work when you've got energy acceleration. So if you can just discard 2 energy to heal 120, but then welder them back on again, I don't think we really care. I mean, take something like Reshiram and Charizard. It's got 270 HP, and it attacks for 4 energy. Generally speaking, that's Flare Strike, the main attack. But we don't really care because we've got Welder, and Welder gets enough energy on that we're fine with it. And it's a free prize Pokemon. When it's KO'd, it gives up free prizes. So a lot of the time, we're going to be ready to go, you know what? I can just welder the energy back on. I'm not willing to give up free prizes. We're good. There's nothing to stop you just switching to the bench, healing with Hyper Potion, and then just leaving the Pokemon on the bench. Just leaving it there and going, right, well, I know I'm now out of range of your main attacker. I don't plan on attacking with this anymore, so I might as well Hyper Potion away some of the energy. But it does get even better with other decks. So let's say you've got something like a Malamar deck or a Naganadel deck. Both of those are actually famous for being able to accelerate energy from the discard pile. So you can just Hyper Potion, discard the energy, and then attach it to Naganadel. Or use Malamar to attach it to another Pokemon. You can do this with Welder, but you need a Welder and a Fire Crystal, so although it's possible, it's not the easiest thing to actually pull off. And of course, it's more limited, right? But let's not forget that in Sword and Shield, we are getting Metal Saucer, which is just like Aqua Patch, but for Metal Pokemon. So if you still got some of them in your deck, you can discard the energy with Hyper Potion, and then just reattach it straight away with Metal Saucer, as long as they are on the bench. There's a lot to like here. But there's going to be a lot of decks that just can't use it. So if you take something like Pikachu and Zekrom, it really does depend as to when they're actually going to be able to use it. So Pikachu and Zekrom, generally speaking, or indeed any Lightning deck nowadays, Thunder Mountain to reduce your attack cost by 1, Tapu Koko Prism Star to accelerate an energy, attach for turn, then you use Full Blitz. And Full Blitz searches your deck for free energy and attaches them. Seems good. But the problem is, in the early game, you kind of need to keep this rolling. And it's not always easy to keep it rolling. You can run out of energy quite quickly. Similarly, if you've got red and blue, and you're using that to evolve up one of your Pokemon and then attach 2 energy to it, if you get rid of the energy too quickly, you're in a spot of bother. Now, if you use red and blue and then you end up getting a Blastoise and Piplup rolling, and then you use Blastoise and Piplup to get another 6 energy on the field, then you're fine. But the point is here, you've got to either have enough energy on the field that it doesn't matter, or be able to get enough energy on the field to cover for it. This is not just healing 120. Then again, we had Gold Potion a while ago, and that was just healing 90, and that was an A-Spec trainer card, and if you played that, you weren't allowed to play something like a computer search or a dowsing machine. Yeah, it makes a bit of a difference, ladies and gentlemen. It really does make a bit of a difference. At the moment, we're using stuff like Mixed Herbs, which heals 90 damage and all special conditions. But you've got to play 2 of them at the same time. For GXs, we've got Great Potion, which will heal 50, but only from an active GX. For water Pokemon, we've got stuff like Lana, which is pretty good healing, but it's 50 from each of your Pokemon with a water energy attached. Or we've got Gardenia that heals 80 from one Pokemon with a grass energy attached. And you'll notice that all of them are, if this is happening, and all of them are less than 120. Even with all of the downsides, even with the whole discarding energy thing, you're still healing 120, and healing 120 is still ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Like, proper job, full-on ridiculous. But we do have a way to heal 120 at the moment. It's Mallow and Lana. And Mallow and Lana heals 120 after you switch a Pokemon to the bench. And it is your supporter for the turn, but it also acts as a switch, and we all use Tate and Liza, which can be a draw supporter, shuffle draw, but can also just be a switch. So switching and healing 120, even having to discard a couple cards from your hand to do so, is pretty good. Is Hyper Potion any better than Mallow and Lana? Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, sometimes it actually really is better than Mallow and Lana. It's a good card. It's great healing. But please don't think it's not a giant pain. Because I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, it is very much a giant pain to actually get this rolling. It is an awkward one to use. In some decks, it will work very, very nicely indeed. But in other decks, it's not good enough. Now, there are some Pokemon for which this is particularly well suited. One was one I looked at earlier today, Copperarjah. And Copperarjah is really, really nice. It does 220 for free energy, which sounds ridiculous, and is, but the attack fails. It does nothing if you've got more than 8 damage counters on you. It's a pretty big downside as far as it goes. So here, using this to heal Copperajah would be really quite nice. But then again, you take free energy. And maybe you're using the Stage 2 Magnezone, but I doubt it. And maybe you end up using Solgaleo Prism Star. But it's far more likely that your energy acceleration here is largely coming from Metal Saucer, which essentially gives you 4 extra energy attachments during the game, which for a Pokemon with 190 HP that can use stuff like Metal Frying Pan, and is going to be naturally healing anyway, might well be enough. But the problem here is, having to discard those energy to do healing is going to be super awkward. I love the idea of Copperajah. I think it looks like a phenomenal card. But honestly, when I look at Copperajah, I'm just thinking, yeah, Mallow and Lana. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that do look at this and go, yeah, Mallow and Lana. And that's where I think we're falling down. I do think it's a good card, and I do think it's good healing, and it's obviously like 1 billion times better than it was the last time we saw it. But I don't think this is some kind of magic catch-all kind of card. I do not think it's for every deck. I think it's a very good card, and it will be very good in some decks. But really, this is a kind of card which is great if you've got energy acceleration, and probably far too risky if you don't. So let's go ahead and give it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. A very good card, but not an every deck card. You've got to be very careful as to when you use it and which decks you use it in. But I would very much like to know which decks you are planning to use it in. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are awesome. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.